The Code of Hammurabi, established by King Hammurabi of Babylon around 1754 BCE, is one of the most significant and well-preserved legal documents from ancient history. It provides a comprehensive insight into the legal and social framework of Babylonian society, offering an invaluable perspective on the principles of justice, societal structure, and governance in ancient Mesopotamia. Hammurabi, who ruled from 1792 to 1750 BCE, sought to unify his empire under a standardized set of laws, aiming to ensure fairness and order in a diverse and complex society. Structure and contents of the Code. The Code of Hammurabi is inscribed on a stele, a large stone monument, and is divided into several sections that cover various aspects of Babylonian life. The stele, standing nearly 7 feet tall, features the laws written in cuneiform script. The code is not merely a collection of laws but a reflection of the values and priorities of the Babylonian state. Family law. Family law in the Code of Hammurabi addresses various issues related to marriage, divorce, and inheritance. It establishes clear guidelines to regulate these aspects of daily life, ensuring that familial relationships and property rights are managed according to legal standards. Marriage contracts. The code specifies the rights and responsibilities of both husbands and wives. It requires that marriage contracts be formalized and stipulates the dowries and bride prices. For example, if a man divorces his wife, he is required to provide her with financial support and return her dowry. This provision aims to protect the financial security of the woman and her children in the event of a divorce. The code also addresses situations where a man might take a second wife, ensuring that the rights of the first wife and her children are not diminished. Inheritance. The code outlines the distribution of property upon the death of a head of household. Sons are typically the primary heirs, but the code also includes provisions to protect the rights of widows and orphans. For instance, if a man dies without a male heir, his property is to be inherited by his daughters. The laws also ensure that widows receive a portion of their deceased husband's estate, providing them with financial stability. Adultery and infidelity. Adultery is a serious offense under the code, particularly for women. If a married woman is caught committing adultery, she may face severe punishment, including death. The code reflects the patriarchal nature of Babylonian society, where female infidelity was considered a significant breach of societal norms. The penalties for men caught in adultery are less severe, highlighting the gender biases inherent in the legal system. Criminal law. Criminal law in the Code of Hammurabi focuses on maintaining social order and deterring criminal behavior through strict penalties. The laws cover a range of offenses, from theft and assault to murder. Theft. The code provides detailed regulations regarding theft. The severity of the punishment depends on the type and value of the stolen property. For instance, if someone steals from a temple or palace, the punishment is more severe than for theft from an individual's home. The laws also address issues related to stolen goods, requiring that stolen property be returned to the owner and that the thief compensate the victim. This system aims to prevent theft by imposing significant penalties on offenders. Assault and violence. The code includes provisions for various forms of assault and violence. If a person injures another, they are required to provide compensation based on the extent of the injury. The principle of an eye for an eye is evident, where the punishment is intended to match the harm done. For example, if a person causes the loss of an eye, the offender may be required to pay a financial equivalent. This approach reflects the code's emphasis on retributive justice. Murder. The Code of Hammurabi prescribes severe penalties for murder, including execution. The laws differentiate between premeditated and accidental killings. For accidental killings, the offender may be required to pay compensation or undergo other forms of justice. This distinction underscores the code's attempt to balance justice with the circumstances surrounding each crime. Commercial law. Commercial law is a critical aspect of the Code of Hammurabi, reflecting the importance of trade and economic stability in Babylonian society. The code regulates various commercial activities, including business transactions, lending, and borrowing. Business transactions. The code includes regulations for business transactions, such as sales and contracts. If a merchant sells defective goods, they are liable for compensating the buyer. The code also addresses issues related to fraud and misrepresentation, ensuring that merchants conduct business honestly. This emphasis on fair business practices helps to maintain trust and order in commercial dealings. Lending and borrowing. The code regulates interest rates and loan agreements. It specifies the maximum interest rate that can be charged on loans and outlines the consequences for defaulting borrowers. For example, if a borrower fails to repay a loan, the lender is entitled to seize collateral. However, the code also ensures that this process is conducted fairly, protecting both lenders and borrowers. Property law. Property law in the Code of Hammurabi addresses ownership, land use, and damage to property. It establishes clear guidelines for managing property rights and resolving disputes. Land ownership. The code outlines the rights associated with land ownership and inheritance. It ensures that property rights are well defined and protected, preventing disputes over land. For instance, if a person sells land, the transaction must be properly documented to avoid future conflicts. Damage to property. The code includes provisions for compensating individuals who suffer damage to their property. If someone accidentally or intentionally damages another's property, they are required to compensate the owner. This includes damage caused by animals or natural events, reflecting the code's comprehensive approach to property management, social justice and class distinctions. The Code of Hammurabi is notable for its treatment of social justice, though it reflects the hierarchical nature of Babylonian society. The laws demonstrate a clear distinction between different social classes, influencing the nature of justice and punishment. Class-based penalties. The code differentiates penalties based on the social status of both the offender and the victim. For example, if a nobleman injures a commoner, the penalty is often more severe than if the roles are reversed. This class-based approach reflects the social hierarchy prevalent in Babylonian society and underscores the importance of social status in determining justice. Slavery. The code acknowledges the existence of slavery and provides certain protections for slaves. While slaves are considered property, the code includes provisions to address their mistreatment and ensure their basic rights. For instance, if a slave is physically harmed by their owner, the code mandates compensation to the slave or their family. Significance and impact. The Code of Hammurabi is a landmark in the history of law and governance, providing a detailed account of the legal principles that governed ancient Babylon. Its significance extends beyond its historical context, influencing later legal systems and contributing to the development of legal thought. Historical influence. The Code of Hammurabi is one of the earliest examples of a codified legal system, setting a precedent for future legal codes. It influenced subsequent legal systems in the ancient Near East, including those of the Hittites and Assyrians. The principles outlined in the code, such as retributive justice and the regulation of commercial transactions, were adopted and adapted by later societies. Legal and social insights. The code offers valuable insights into Babylonian society, revealing its values, norms, and social structure. It highlights the importance of family, property, and social order in Babylonian culture. The code's emphasis on fairness and justice, despite its class-based distinctions, reflects the complexities of governance in an ancient civilization. Enduring legacy. The Code of Hammurabi remains a key subject of study for historians, legal scholars, and archaeologists. Its detailed provisions and principles continue to be analyzed for their relevance to the development of legal systems and societal norms. The code's impact on the evolution of law and justice is enduring, demonstrating the sophistication of Babylonian legal thought. The Code of Hammurabi stands as a testament to the advanced nature of Babylonian civilization and its approach to law and governance. Its detailed legal provisions and the principles it embodies offer a comprehensive understanding of ancient Babylonian society. As one of the earliest and most complete legal codes, it not only provided a framework for justice in its time but also laid the groundwork for future legal systems. The Code of Hammurabi's influence on the development of law and its enduring legacy underscore its significance as a cornerstone of legal history and a crucial artifact for understanding the evolution of legal and societal norms.